All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I am Lalema Aneja Dang and with me is Sunil Verma. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi holds talks with French President Emmanuel Macron in Paris. Two leaders discuss entire range of bilateral issues including cooperation in defense, space, blue economy, civil nuclear and people-to-people ties. Prime Minister Modi participates in second India-Nordic summit at Copenhagen in Denmark, invites Nordic companies to invest in Sagarmala project. President Ramnath Kovind says northeastern region will emerge as an engine of growth for entire country. RBI hikes repo rate by 40 basis points, taking it to 4.40%. US Fed hikes rate by a half percentage point, sharpest increase since 2000. India to be country of honor at the upcoming Marche du film organized alongside Cannes Film Festival in France. European Union announces new sanctions against Russia over Ukraine issue, proposes total ban on oil imports from Moscow and targeting its biggest bank and major broadcasters. And in IPL cricket, Royal Challengers Bangalore beat Chennai Super Kings by 13 runs in Pune. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has held talks with the French President Emmanuel Macron in Paris yesterday. In a statement, the MEA said the Prime Minister met Mr. Macron in a one-to-one and delegation-level format in Paris. The two leaders held discussions on the entire range of bilateral issues, including cooperation in defense, space, blue economy, civil nuclear and people-to-people ties. The two leaders also took stock of the regional and global security outlook and discussed ways to work together in making the India-France strategic partnership a force for global good. Prime Minister's visit to France displayed the strong bond and goodwill not only between the two countries but also between the two leaders. The Prime Minister invited President Macron to visit India at the earliest. A joint statement was issued after the talks. Earlier, Prime Minister Modi reached Paris on his way back from the second India-Nordic summit in Copenhagen. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said, France is one of India's strongest partners. He said both the nations are cooperating in diverse areas. Terming his Denmark visit as productive, the Prime Minister said in a tweet that the programs covered different spheres ranging from diplomatic meetings, boosting cultural and commercial linkages, and engagement with the Indian community. He thanked Prime Minister of Denmark, Mette Frederiksen, and the people of Denmark. About the second India-Nordic summit, Mr. Modi said this summit gave a great platform to discuss ways to boost ties with the Nordic nations. He said the bilateral meetings with Nordic leaders were productive and is looking forward to working with them in various sectors aimed at furthering prosperity.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi participated in the second India-Nordic summit at Copenhagen in Denmark yesterday. The Prime Ministers of Denmark, Finland, Iceland, Sweden and Norway also took part in the summit. The summit provided an opportunity to review the progress of India-Nordic relations since the first India-Nordic summit, which was held in 2018 in Stockholm. During the summit, the Prime Ministers pledged to continue to deepen cooperation and focus their discussions on key issues related to international peace and security. Discussions were also held on multilateral cooperation in post-pandemic economic recovery, climate change, sustainable development, innovation, digitalization and green and clean growth. Mr. Modi invited Nordic companies for investing in the blue economy sector, especially in Sagarmala project. The Nordic countries reiterated their support for India's permanent membership of a reformed and expanded United Nations Security Council. They reiterated their commitment to ambitious cooperation on climate change, renewable energy, energy diversification, smart grids and energy efficiency. The leaders agreed that the blue economy can deliver economic growth, new jobs, improved nutrition and increased food security. Mr. Modi noted that India's Arctic policy provided a good framework for expansion of India-Nordic cooperation in the Arctic region. The Prime Minister invited the sovereign wealth funds of the Nordic countries to invest in India. Briefing media in Copenhagen, Foreign Secretary Vinay Mohan Quatra said, prior to the summit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi held bilateral summit meetings with his counterparts from Finland, Iceland, Sweden and Norway.
His meetings with four Nordic leaders started with his meeting with his counterpart from Norway, where the principal focus of discussion and partnership was on one, blue economy and its various facets, renewable energy, in particular cooperative possibilities in the field of hydroelectric and green hydrogen. Three, the technology and investment ties. In this context, Prime Minister invited Norwegian pension funds to partner in India's growth story. Fourth, in the health sector, in which the two leaders talked about cooperation relating to joint research in vaccines and development of health infrastructure. And five, cooperation in building and restoring water bodies in India. They also talked about continuing cooperation and coordination in the UN Security Council.
The Foreign Secretary said Prime Minister Narendra Modi also held a meeting with his counterpart in Sweden.
Prime Minister Shri Modi's second meeting was with his counterpart from Sweden, where the principal focus of discussion and cooperation was one on clean technology and sustainable solutions. This was discussed broadly under two rubrics: one, relating to the investments by Sweden in India in clean technology and sustainable solution, and two, partnerships in research and innovation in this field, drawing on very successful partnership under the LEAD IT program, which is the program relating to industrial transition.
President Ramnath Kovind has said that the northeastern region will emerge as an engine of growth for the entire country. He was speaking at the valedictory function of the Northeast Festival organized by the Ministry of Development of Northeast Region as part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav in Guwahati last evening. President Kovind said that efforts are needed now to place the northeast states on par with the industrial advanced states of the country so that more jobs are created. The President said that northeast states are the natural gateway to the South Asian countries with international boundaries of over 3,500 kilometers and they are strategically significant for our country.
As per Vastu, which is a part of Indian culture, the northeast direction is always considered to be very auspicious. That the northeastern states will bring about prosperity and success of our entire nation. The geography of the northeastern states one day is going to pave the way for creating a new glorious history of our country.
Mr. Kovind said that the Act East policy has made a paradigm shift for the development of the northeastern states. Union Home Minister Amit Shah is arriving in West Bengal today on a two-day visit. Today, Mr. Shah will flag off floating ambulance at floating border outpost at Sutlej. He will lay foundation stone of Maitri Museum and address Prahari Sammelan at border outpost Haridaspur. The Home Minister is scheduled to address a public meeting at Siliguri. India will be the country of honor at the upcoming Marche du Film organized alongside the Cannes Film Festival in France. The festival will be organized from the 17th of this month. This was announced by Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Thakur during a press conference in New Delhi. He said that France and India are marking 75 years of their diplomatic ties and Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Paris and meeting with President Macron takes even more significance in this context. Mr. Thakur said that it is in this significant diplomatic backdrop that India has been chosen as the country of honor at Marche du Film at the Cannes Film Festival.
India will be the country of honor at Cannes Film Festival. This is the first time such honor is being bestowed to any country. So India will be officially country of honor at the upcoming Marche du Film, which is organized alongside the Cannes Film Festival in France. The country of honor status thereby ensures India's presence as focused country at the opening night. India is also a country of honor at the Cannes next. So on the opening night, whereas on one hand India can showcase its cinema, culture and heritage. On the other hand, as I said, India will be country of honor at the Cannes next, under which 5 startups would be given an opportunity to pitch to the audiovisual industry.
More than 189 crore 60 lakh COVID vaccine doses have been administered in the country so far. The Union Health and Family Welfare Ministry said that more than 12 lakh vaccine doses were administered yesterday. The ministry said more than 3 crore 80 lakh vaccine doses have been administered to the children in the age group of 12 to 14 years. Over 2 crore 88 lakh precaution doses have been administered to the identified categories of beneficiaries and people above 18 years of age. The national capital Delhi reported 1,354 COVID-19 cases and 1 fatality due to the disease yesterday. The positivity rate in the city is 7.64%. There are 5,853 active cases of the disease in the city now. The country recorded 3,205 new COVID-19 cases and 31 deaths in the last 24 hours. Active cases presently stand at 19,509. You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi holds talks with French President Emmanuel Macron in Paris. Two leaders discuss entire range of bilateral issues including cooperation in defense, space, blue economy, civil nuclear and people-to-people ties. Prime Minister Modi participates in second India-Nordic summit at Copenhagen in Denmark, invites Nordic companies to invest in Sagarmala project. President Ramnath Kovind says Northeastern region will emerge as engine of growth for the entire country. RBI hikes repo rate by 40 basis points, taking it to 4.40%. US Fed hikes rate by half percentage point, sharpest increase since 2000. India to be country of honor at upcoming Marché du Film, organized alongside Cannes Film Festival in France. European Union announces new sanctions against Russia over Ukraine issue, proposes total ban on oil imports from Moscow and targeting its biggest bank and major broadcasters. And in IPL cricket, Royal Challengers Bangalore beat Chennai Super Kings by 13 runs in Pune. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव के पावन अवसर पर आकाशवाणी समाचार के कार्यक्रम परिक्रमा में बृहस्पतिवार को शाम 4:45 पर सुनिए देश की आजादी में अपना अमूल्य योगदान देने वाले भारतीय स्वतंत्रता संग्राम के सेनानियों की वीर गाथा।
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख।
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प।
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग।
आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता।
बुकिंग है तो संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर।
8700014242।
The Reserve Bank of India has hiked the policy repo rate by 40 basis points, taking it to 4.40%. RBI Governor Shaktikanta Das said Monetary Policy Committee at its meeting decided to increase the policy repo rate under the Liquidity Adjustment Facility by 40 basis points to 4.40% with immediate effect.
The Monetary Policy Committee voted unanimously to increase the policy repo rate by 40 basis points, 40 basis points to 4.40% with immediate effect. Consequently, the standing deposit facility rate stands adjusted to 4.15% and the marginal standing facility rate and bank rate to 4.65%. The MPC also decided to unanimously remain accommodative while focusing on withdrawal of accommodation to ensure that inflation remains within the target going forward while supporting growth.
The U.S. Federal Reserve hiked interest rate by a rare half percentage point last night. This is the sharpest increase in interest rate since 2000. The U.S. Central Bank announced plans to shrink its $9 trillion asset portfolio starting next month in an effort to reduce inflation that is running at a 4-decade high. The moves announced after a 2-day policy meeting will raise the central bank's benchmark federal funds rate to a target range between 0.75% and 1%. Together, the steps mark the most aggressive government tightening of monetary policy at one meeting in decades, aimed at rapidly reducing the economic stimulus that has contributed to rising price pressures. Major U.S. stocks rallied across the board last night after Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell in the press conference ruled out larger rate hikes and emphasized the possibility of a soft landing, tamping down inflation without inducing a recession.
The FOMC raised its policy interest rate by a half percentage point and anticipates that ongoing increases in the target rate for the federal funds rate will be appropriate. In addition, we are beginning the process of significantly reducing the size of our balance sheet. The surge in prices of crude oil and other commodities that resulted from Russia's invasion of Ukraine is creating additional upward pressure on inflation, and COVID-related lockdowns in China are likely to further exacerbate supply chain disruptions as well.
The European Union has unveiled the latest package of sanctions against Russia over Ukraine, proposing a total ban on oil imports from Moscow and targeting its biggest bank and major broadcasters. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen announced plans to cut off European purchases of Russian crude oil within 6 months and end imports of refined energy products by the end of this year. She said the package was aimed at maximizing pressure on Russia while minimizing damage to Europe. We will make sure that we phase out Russian oil in an orderly fashion, the Commission President added. The package first has to be approved by EU ambassadors and is set to be signed off in the next few days. In Nepal, at least 5 people died and 19 others were injured in a road accident at Kabre-Palanchok district yesterday. The police said the jeep with 13 passengers on board was heading towards Kathmandu when it ran into the minibus carrying 26 Indian pilgrims at Roshi Rural Municipality. At least 19 other passengers were injured in the accident. The police said all the injured, with one in critical condition, were receiving treatment at a local hospital. The senior police officer informed that all the deceased were Nepalis who were travelling in the jeep. He noted that a preliminary investigation found that the jeep was overspeeding before it lost control and hit the minibus. The minibus, with an Indian plate, was carrying tourists from Uttar Pradesh, and 11 Indians were among the injured.
And now let's listen to our special program Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav.
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world At 15 years old, he became active in the independence movement. In 1938, he established the Praja Mandal, a political organization allied to the Congress Party, in his home district of Faridkot. He was arrested by the police and sent to a 5-year jail sentence.
While he was referred to as Gyani for his scholarly mastery of the Sikh scriptures, during his incarceration, he changed his first name to Zail after being imprisoned several times for opposing the rule of the Maharaja.
1947, with the reorganization of India along secular lines, he opposed the ruler Faridkot state and was incarcerated. Zail Singh was called on to be the revenue minister of the newly formed Patiala and East Punjab States Union. Later, Singh served in the Rajya Sabha in 1956-62 and was elected the Chief Minister of Punjab in 1972.
In 1980, he was elected to the Lok Sabha and appointed as the Minister of Home Affairs. In 1982, he was unanimously nominated to serve as the President of India and became the first Sikh to hold this office.
हमारा राष्ट्र अनेकता में एकता की शानदार मिसाल है। यह हमारा धर्म है कि हम इस राष्ट्र को एक सूत्र में बांधने वाले उन तहजीबी रिश्तों को और मजबूत बनाएं।
Gyani Zail Singh passed away on the 25th of December 1994 in Chandigarh. We salute the great Indian.
We also remember revolutionary freedom fighter Nepal Mukherjee, who was made a state prisoner on the 5th of May 1917. A resident of Dhaka district, now in Bangladesh, Mukherjee was a prominent member of the Dhaka Anushilan Samiti as well as the Jugantar Party.
He took part in many revolutionary activities, notably the Chandrakona robbery in 1916 and the murder of Deben Ghosh thereafter. He was also a custodian of the arms and ammunition being procured for the Indo-German conspiracy. He was in close touch with revolutionary Atul Ghosh and other leading members of the Jugantar Party.
Nepal Mukherjee was interned via government order dated 11 September 1916 and made a state prisoner on the 5th of May 1917. He was released on the 4th of January 1919 and later arrested again. He died during internment in June 1926 in Comilla. We salute this great martyr.
We also remember Chittagong Revolutionary Party member Manoranjan Sen, who was killed by the British military guards on the 5th of May 1930.
Indian Republican Army!
Manoranjan Sen took part in the Chittagong Armory raid on the 18th of April 1930 and also in the fighting against the British soldiers on Jalalabad Hill on the 22nd of April 1930.
A participant in the plan to raid the European residential area in Chittagong on the 5th of May 1930, Sen was chased by the military guards, surrounded and killed in the encounter. We salute this great son of the soil.
We remember martyr Shadi Khan, who took part in the First War of Indian Independence in 1857 and fought the British on different occasions. He led a group of independence activists and marched towards Delhi.
On the way, Khan was caught by the company troops in the course of a confrontation and charged with sedition and rebellion against the British. He was sentenced to imprisonment for life with labour and iron in April 1858. He died in the Andaman Islands on the 5th of May 1859. AIR salutes this great son of India.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
In Kerala, close to 3 lakh mothers would be given training in cyber safety from Saturday onwards. The state government has entrusted the training task to Little Kites IT clubs set up by Kerala Infrastructure and Technology for Education, KITE. The 3-hour training comprising 5 sessions would be held in batches of 30 participants on a first-come, first-served basis. After the hiatus for 2 years due to the pandemic, the board examinations in Tamil Nadu returns to offline mode from today. Over 8.37 lakh students will be appearing for their Plus 2 public examinations that begin this morning. The 10th board examinations start from tomorrow. Various leaders have encouraged the students to confidently face the public examinations as they are appearing for the first time offline. Chief Minister N.K. Stalin in a tweet has asked the students to write the examinations without any fear, saying the tests are intended only to assess their learning, not to assess the students themselves.
In IPL cricket, Royal Challengers Bangalore defeated Chennai Super Kings by 13 runs at Maharashtra Cricket Association Stadium in Pune last night. Put into bat first, Bangalore scored 173 runs for the loss of 8 wickets in the stipulated 20 overs. Chasing the target, Chennai were restricted at 160 for 8 in 20 overs. Chennai captain MS Dhoni became only the second player after Virat Kohli to play 200 matches for a single franchise in IPL history. Today, Delhi Capitals will meet Sunrisers Hyderabad at Brabant Stadium, Mumbai at 7:30 p.m. In the 12th Hockey India Sub-Junior Men National Championship, Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, Bihar and Arunachal registered thumping wins over their respective opponents on the opening day at Panaji yesterday. In the tournament opener, Odisha registered a comprehensive 14-0 win over Kerala in Pool E. In the second Pool E match, Andhra Pradesh beat Mizoram 13-0. In Pool G matches, Bihar outplayed Telangana Hockey 18-0, while Arunachal defeated Hockey Jammu and Kashmir 6-2. A total of 29 teams were participating in the tournament. The participating teams are divided into 8 pools. Pool matches are being played on the initial 8 days, and these will be followed by quarterfinals on May the 12th and semi-finals on May the 14th. The final match is scheduled to be played on May the 15th.
The national capital, Delhi, is staring at a water crisis amid the rising heat, with the water levels at the Wazirabad pond depleting alarmingly due to acute shortage in water flow in the Yamuna River. Delhi Jal Board has said that it is trying to rationalize the water supply. However, water will be available at low pressure till the situation improves. It said, due to excessive floating material choking the filter beds, the treatment process has slowed down at the Haidarpur water treatment plant. The affected areas include North Delhi, Northwest Delhi, West Delhi and parts of South Delhi including Delhi Cant. Delhi government has written to the Haryana Irrigation Department to release additional water in the Yamuna River to prevent disruption in water supply in the capital city.
In Kerala, isolated heavy rain accompanied by lightning and thunderstorms will continue till Sunday. The Met Department has forecast squally weather with wind speed reaching up to a speed of 55 km per hour, gusting to 65 km per hour. Yellow alert has been issued to Mallapuram district today.
And now let's have a look at the weather forecast for today. The national capital Delhi will have partly cloudy sky with the possibility of development of thunder lightning. Temperatures will hover between 24 and 39 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have mainly clear sky. Chennai is likely to have generally cloudy sky with light rain. Kolkata is likely to have rain or thunder showers with strong gusty winds. Srinagar will have partly cloudy sky with the possibility of rain or thunderstorm. Jammu is expected to have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards night. Leh, Gilgit and Muzaffarabad will have generally cloudy sky with the possibility of rain. Visakhapatnam, Hyderabad and Bengaluru will have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. Thiruvananthapuram will have partly cloudy sky with the possibility of moderate rain or thunderstorm.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. Ukraine war in focus at India-Nordic talks is the Hindustan Times headline, referring to Prime Minister's visit to the 5 Nordic countries yesterday. According to the Civil Registration System CRS Report 2020, number of girls born per 1,000 boys is highest in Ladakh, followed by Arunachal Pradesh, Andaman and Nicobar Islands and Tripura. That's a report in the Tribune. Delhi High Court directs Twitter to take down defamatory tweets, says The Hindu. After sending missions to the Moon and Mars, ISRO is now readying a spacecraft to orbit Venus, reports the Asian Age. And finally, the Pioneer carries a story warning travellers in Kerala to avoid shawarma as a popular Arabian meat delicacy, as many unauthorized eateries have opened and the unhygienic conditions have resulted in the death of a student and hospitalization of many.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi holds talks with French President Emmanuel Macron in Paris. 2 leaders discuss entire range of bilateral issues, including cooperation in defence, space, blue economy, civil nuclear and people-to-people ties. Prime Minister Modi participates in 2nd India-Nordic Summit at Copenhagen in Denmark, invites Nordic companies to invest in Sagarmala project. President Ramnath Kovind says Northeastern region will emerge as engine of growth for entire country. RBI hikes repo rate by 40 basis points, taking it to 4.40%. US Fed hikes rate by a half percentage point, sharpest increase since 2000. India to be a country of honor at the upcoming Marche du Film, organized alongside Cannes Film Festival in France. European Union announces new sanctions against Russia over Ukraine issue. And in IPL cricket, Royal Challengers Bangalore beat Chennai Super Kings by 13 runs in Pune. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.